Welcome to this video, round 4 coverage of the Open International Bavarian Championships. Yeah, round 4 I had the big game, board 1 of the tournament, playing the #1 seed, so the best possible draw that you can get. I always want the best possible opposition. It's just the reason why you play this kind of tournaments. And yeah, but who is this guy? It's not one of the very well-known players, I guess. Rand, if I pronounce this correctly, Rand Melkumyan. He's somewhat known to German players, maybe because he lives in Berlin, Germany, and is a training partner of Levon Aronian. So he is sometimes he plays in the German Bundesliga as well, and therefore might be known to some people. He recently has gained lots of rating points. He's on 2,678 now, so very close, somewhat close to the 2,700 barrier. He's like number 70 or something in the world. Yeah, so what to play against such a guy? The good thing is I have white, which is helpful, I feel, against very strong opposition. The bad thing was when I looked at his opening repertoire that it didn't really give me any clear indication of what he will play. I relatively quickly discarded the idea to play 1d4 because he sometimes plays the Grünfeld, and if you watch my Blitz games you might know that I play some weird stuff against the Grünfeld. Sometimes I play stuff like that, and I really don't want to play this kind of stuff against a very strong player who probably knows it better than I do. I sometimes play alternatively against the Grünfeld stuff like this, which is more solid, but well, this is the absolute favorite variation of Aronian, at least it was for a number of years, so Melkumyan will know it inside out, so I shouldn't do that. Simply not d4, so I went with knight f3, which is mostly an anti-Grünfeld move. Yeah, he played d5, and I was a little bit surprised that he played a Queen's Gambit declined. It's part of his repertoire, but the whole opening is, while being very solid, not very suitable to win with black. And I was expecting, especially here, I was expecting something a little bit yeah, a little bit sharper. For example, c6 now, the Semislav, or maybe bishop b4, the Rogozin. He played knight bd7, however, and after bishop g5, here I expected c6 again, maybe for a Cambridge Springs or something. He played bishop e7. So this is the Uber classic, yeah, like back from Capablanca and Alekhine. E3 castles. The total, like the dinosaur form of the Queen's Gambit declined. It is in fact not such a bad line. There are interesting ways, in fact, for black to play that. However, this whole line has one drawback from a practical point of view. It is difficult to win against a specific variation that white can play. And I was surprised by that. I couldn't prepare anything, but I knew that the old move Queen c2 by, this is called the Rubenstein variation, yet another Rubenstein variation. I knew that this is very difficult for black to play for a win, because he now has basically two alternatives: simplifying to a very dull position, or accepting a disadvantage. And he did the simplifying option. Yeah, what I mean is that black definitely wants to play c5 now or one move later, and any other option that is more fighting, let's say he plays something like b6, for example. After that, I can transpose to a Queen's Gambit declined exchange in a very favorable form. Something like this is very nice for white with f4, castles, yeah, setting up this typical Pillsbury formation. There's also a very famous game by Kasparov played against Alexander Belyavsky in the candidates matches of 1983, I think it was, where Kasparov won a very nice game against Belyavsky. So this is well known and to be avoided by black. Even if you want to play for win, this is very risky. He went with h6. I played bishop h4. In fact, here white has a funny alternative in the capture on d5. It looks crazy, but white can play this piece sacrifice with unclear consequences. It's an interesting line, but without preparing this beforehand, I don't want to play a piece down after 10 moves against the 2700 player. So I did not do that. I knew that it exists, and I might do it in other circumstances, but not here. I just went bishop h4. Especially knowing that here black will definitely go c5. A move like c6, for example, the very old-fashioned way to play, is answered by rook d1, which sets up this typical opposition by queen and rook. And this is very tough for black to equalize. Also note that if black tries something like that, this typical maneuver developed by Capablanca, I now can play the bishop to g3. I don't need to trade necessarily. And this is also nice for white. I just have a better center. Yeah, which means to make to come to the point, black must play c5. Yeah, and after that I'm going to take. Knight takes. C takes d4 as an alternative. Also very solid and equal, but very boring. Yeah, he went with the knight trade. Takes here, and I take here. Yeah, and after this we see that we have two sets of minor pieces traded. Black has an isolated pawn, and he does not have any great activity for the pawn. So is this a better position for white? Maybe very slightly, very slightly, but black is fairly solid, especially if he is content with dead equality. He can, after bishop e2, which I played, he can play with a bishop to g4, knight e6, intending d4. And this, I think, can easily be very equal. But of course, he wanted to do something and not play this to a total dead equality. He tried knight e4 and bishop f5. Okay. Went knight d4, bishop back, bishop d3, rook c8, queen e2. Yeah, I mean, here I was of course very satisfied with the position. It is a totally static position, absolutely no big dynamic things going on. I have an excellent knight that blockades his IQP, and he's very far away from any sort of attack on my king or whatever. So it's just exactly where you want to be against a strong opponent. Yeah, he tried rook c5, and I don't mind trading. Rook c1, rook c8. Yeah, and here I had here I just saw what happened the next couple of moves and went for it. I mean, and you need to be honest with yourself. A draw in the game is perfectly fine, and I did not really see anything great that I can do. So I went for the trades. And this, yeah, just swap, just trade everything off. And we shouldn't underestimate the fact that black has an isolated queen pawn. So I still entertained some hopes of maybe just being a little bit better. In fact, instead of rook d1, I could have played rook d1, which is a little bit better. Just, yeah, not trading everything. Here white has a slight advantage. And the same applies in the game after rook c1. He played queen b4. Here I can also play rook d1 with a slight advantage. But I'm honest, I just wanted to play this as safe as possible. And I made a miscalculation. I took on e4 here with the bishop, which is not a bad move really, but it is followed up with a bad continuation. He took with the bishop. My idea was to, with this straight, to at the end establish this great knight on d4, which is unchallengeable on d4 against a bad bishop on e4 that is basically pointing into thin air. Of course, I have a coordination problem. I cannot play knight d4 obviously due to this, and black is also sometimes threatening to take on b3 with weak back rank. The problem is I made a mistake now. What I should do is I should play queen to d1, and after that I have no problems whatsoever. The idea is to later get the knight to d4. I need to cover the rook. My idea, and this was planned a couple of moves ago, however, was to play not queen d1, but to play f3, and I played that. This, however, has a big drawback. I actually thought that I'm better here. Rook takes, knight takes, and here I thought, wow, isn't this a great position? He has to move the bishop now, somewhere, and I go a3. He plays whatever, let's say here, and I go to d2, and then I regroup the knight with a fantastic position. Yeah, or knight to c3. Yeah, well, fantastic is a little bit much, but it's something that you will never ever lose. Yeah, not even against Magnus Carlsen or God or whatever. It's just what you want to have. You can even try to win for ages. Yeah, I was really enthusiastic here. Yeah, what a great position. But then it turned out, of course, well, this guy is no dummy. He played the move bishop c2, and this was very embarrassing because I hadn't seen this beforehand at all. Yeah, tactics. I cannot take it. Well, this is also not good. I cannot take it because of checkmate. Very embarrassing. And the problem is he just attacks the pawn. Yeah, and I have no other way to defend the pawn than to advance it. So I needed to play b3. Yeah, and this is not a move that you want to play. Yeah? It weakens the dark squares enormously, stuff like this. And at the moment, really, my knight on c1 is not coordinated at all with my queen and the whole camp. It's a matter of some coordination. If I get the knight magically to d4, I'm in great shape. But at the moment, I don't really coordinate well. This position is not harmonious. I actually believe that the most critical point in the whole game for me is around here. Because it's possible that maybe here, with more precise play, he could have posed me much more serious problems. The computer, for example, wants to play bishop to b1 here. The idea being that it is difficult after this move to suggest anything great for white. It's almost a Zugzwang. I don't really have anything great. During the game, when he was thinking about his move, I was thinking if he goes here, I probably just play the king up to f2. Maybe this is a possible continuation sometimes. Yeah, move the king up, and after the check here, if he gives a check, just drop back. But here, he can play d4, and this is comparable to the game where he went d4 immediately, but this seems a little bit more tricky. It is very annoying, the whole thing. If you look at this, for example, this is a terrible position. I'm almost in Zugzwang here. Yeah, my knight is dominated and really awful. All the consequence of this tactical shot with bishop c2 that I missed. I guess something like this bishop b1 move was a chance for black to put more pressure on. He played d4, and after d4 I had king f2, and now of course he does not have the check here, and my idea is to just take and play queen e3 with an okay position, or yeah, at least something that I can hold. He now took, queen takes, check, and back to g1, and this is far better coordinated than in the other lines. My queen is just more active. It looks here, it covers this. Yeah, he tried b6. Yeah, well, a7 was not hanging, but at some point it will hang, so this does make sense. Queen c3. Yeah, I know, it's not attacking the bishop. Still, there's the mate threat, but the queen is still well positioned here. I went with this setup. Yeah, and here I was pretty confident that the worst is over. I was really shocked when he got this bishop c2 move in. But here I was pretty confident that it's totally equal. After some moves, here I actually offered a draw, which I rarely do, to be honest. If I'm a huge underdog in a game rating wise, I normally don't offer draws at all, because it's sort of kind of clear that the higher rated player tries to win, and if he feels like, okay, I cannot win anymore, or a draw is okay, he will offer himself. But I really thought that, okay, this is so equal that I can really offer a draw, but he declined and continued. Nothing that really surprised me. I was just thinking, okay, let's offer a draw and see what comes. Okay, he continued. There is really no big reason for that, despite the 200 something points that he has on me. Yeah, it does not really need to be explained that much here. I mean, the thing is, it's almost a fortress, right? I have the queen on b2. I cover, oops, that's a bit much. I cover a3. I cover the second rank, and he does not even have a check, so I can just basically sit tight and wait if he comes up with any idea. You only need to be a little bit alert that you don't allow something, and I didn't allow anything the next couple of moves. It was basically shuffling around. But don't underestimate the situation. It's not like you can play all moves instantly. You still have to check if there are some little ideas that come up, because, well, you know the situation when you are the stronger player. You keep doing little things, and sometimes the weaker player just breaks down at some point. So we continued for quite a while in this vein. Now we are on move 50. It's important. Yeah? The time control for this tournament was 90 minutes for 40 moves, and then additional 30 minutes after move 40 with 30-second increment for the whole from move 1. So this means that here on move 50 we were like on 15 minutes each, and increment. And the further course of the game was there was not much happening. I need to be honest here. The further course of the game was like this, and around here we both had a little bit more than increment, like 2 or 3 minutes. And I started to get a little bit optimistic here, because, well, I have gained a little bit of space. Yeah, okay, this can also be a weakness, but yeah, there are some ideas that white has. I mean, knight to e4 is an idea, yeah? Going to f6. I mean, I really didn't see a reason why I should be any worse here, and maybe, yeah, maybe I can do something in this position, especially after he played b5. I was thinking that there are now lots of situations that are actually favorable for white. If I manage to get queens traded, yeah, just think about this. If queens are off, I have the clearly better endgame. He's got a pawn on a light squares with a light squared bishop. I have the more active king. The king is only 3 in the middle of the board, but it is safe due to this great knight which defends it. Also the reason why he went b5. He wants to activate his bishop and attack my knight. So to be honest, I was thinking that, well, maybe he's doing he's doing some things that yeah, are actually not helpful for his position. Went here and h5. Yeah, my original intention, of course, here was to play g5, but after that he all of a sudden gets his queen here, and that's not looking good. So I went h5, and after queen h2 I took. Yeah, if he takes, he opens up his king position, and maybe queen c2 is a move that will come later. Hard for him to avoid the queen trade, and queen trades are good for me. The h5 pawn is not a weakness, and I have ideas to attack, for example, a7 with my knight and win the pawn. Yeah, this is why he went queen h2, and I took, and went king e4. Yeah, activating the king. My king is a good piece, and I intend to play queen f4. Here I was definitely trying to get more than a draw. I was thinking, okay, why not? I mean, my king is more active and lots of configurations are good for me. Objectively, however, it is still very much equal. The computer is basically on 0 all the time. It sometimes gives 0.1 for one side, but it's very equal. Yeah, he went here. Queen activated, check, back. And he pushed the king back. Okay, queen e3. Based on the fact that an endgame is better for me due to my active pieces and the weakness of this pawn. That pawn will easily fall if we trade queens. Yeah, he avoided the trade. And I went f4. Okay. And now the next possible idea is to, at some point, maybe play queen e5, getting a passer. Of course, tricky business. He has an h-pawn as well. Okay, he went bishop e6. Funny defensive move, but good one. Attacks here. Okay, I went g5, and now he took the pawn. Yeah, around here we were playing with our 30 seconds increment. We didn't have any more time. h5 was also possible, but is a risky move, of course. Yeah, this is a possible asset for black, but it's a risky business to keep white's pawn structure intact. I even have queen e5, which is very hard to assess. I think it was a good decision for him to take. Bishop f7. Yeah, and now I'm regrouping. Knight to f3 and king here. My king is secure now, protected by queen and knight. And what I want to do is I want to get some attack against the king with the combined force of knight and queen. If I'm able to generate some attack on his king, I might get to the situation where I can favorably trade and then invade with my king. This was the winning plan. So king g8, king here, and centralizing. Yeah, white is in good shape, and all those moves are perfectly okay. I checked this afterwards with the engine. Queen e6, queen c7. Yeah, gaining space and maybe getting in knight e5. King g8. King g3. And now I'm ready to play knight e5. He played king f8. And with king f8 he offered a draw. We are now on move 78. And this was the final game of this round. We were the only people playing left in this big tournament hall. And many spectators around the board here. And he offered the draw here. But I really wanted to win now. I mean, it's clear that white is the one pushing, and accepting a draw is just a very chicken behavior. So it was clear that I should decline. And I really thought that I'm much better here. It seems that the computer is not agreeing, and it says it is totally equal. But I absolutely must decline, because from a practical point of view, this position is much better for white, or much easier for white to play. Knight e5 is good, bishop e8. Yeah, and the next two moves, I think, are just not very much to the point. If you analyze it with the engine, it says equal all the time. But this is only half of the truth. The thing is that the knight is a very uncomfortable piece to play against, with a somewhat open king and little time on the clock. What I want to do is really, or what I should try for, is something that, yeah, it keeps knight and queen on the board, and I should sort of try to alternate threats and shuffle around a little bit and keep the situation on the board with little threats. And what I'm doing now, check, and here, and it looks like a good idea. It still looks like a good idea to me, but he has the move bishop d7. He defended this just very nicely. He has bishop d7, and here the problem is that, yeah, a move like this, for example, is not leading anywhere. He can go here, and I have no check here, and he is threatening something very substantial. And okay, if I trade here, there's simply nothing happening. Yeah, the check also looks nice, but he just moved the king, and there is no continuation. I don't even have a check to follow up. And again, he has counterplay like this. Especially queen h3 is a problem. Yeah, I didn't see anything here, any continuation. And then, yeah, I really didn't know what to do. And then I spotted, with like 5 seconds on the clock, I spotted this move and went for it, which was a little bit of a gamble, because I couldn't really evaluate it properly. Yeah, okay, I'm threatening knight f6, so he has to take it. Check. And this. And I was seeing that he cannot activate his king after king e6, because I have knight f6, followed up by this. And when I saw that, I saw, okay, covered, 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 covered. So I probably don't risk anything much. And it still is possible to do something for white, because all his pawns are on light squares. However, it turned out that here there is nothing going on. He can draw this quite easily. Bishop g2, knight g4, intending knight e5, and but he has this move that keeps the whole thing together. I still have to be a little bit cautious. A move like this, for example, if we look at this, all of a sudden he has this activation idea. So I must be careful that he's not all of a sudden activates his stuff. So I went to e3 here and king e4. Yeah, keeping the 5th rank under control. Bishop d7, king d4, king e6. We shuffled a bit here. I still tried to win. King f4, bishop b7. There is no way forward. We are on move 93 now. And yeah, I can cut this short. We shuffled a bit. And here, with move 100, king d4, move 100, we agreed to draw. Because here it's just basically a repetition of moves forever. Yeah, an epic fight of 100 moves. It probably does not look very thrilling if you now see the game, but I can assure you that it was a very exhausting experience to play 100 moves against someone where you know that he won't miss much. It was of course fun to decline the draw, but I was a little bit disappointed that when I got to this situation that I have to basically trade queens here and cannot torture him a little bit with queens and knight against the king. It was a little bit disappointing, I think. Yeah, for black, I think probably the key point was when I had overlooked this bishop c2 resource here. Maybe some better move order gives him a better chances to win. The way it went in the game, this type of position really was just totally equal, and he never got anywhere near something like a win. All in all, a little bit of a surprising opening choice. He's a very solid and technical player, so there is some logic behind it, but it's just a little bit dull to try to get a winning game with black. Yeah, so okay, a good result, of course. I was very satisfied that that I didn't lose the game. Right after the game, I must admit I was slightly disappointed, because I thought that with queen and knight around here, I really had a big advantage, I thought. But this is not justified. The computer just defends this mercilessly. But if, from a practical point of view, this is a very uncomfortable situation for black. I could have certainly made life more difficult for him, but I couldn't manage really, especially with just increment on the clock. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the game. Anyway, it was a really long affair, but I hope some of the tension that was in the game yeah, was conveyed in the video. It's very hard to do when you're not there. It was a very tense game. The last 20-30 minutes we were the only guys playing in the whole hall, and so this is always something special. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.